Do we know if anybody else? Oh, is she on? Was that early? Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, there she is. Got a phone. You got a phone? Hi. How's it going? If we're all ready, we're going to call open the meeting to order. It is 12:01 p.m. Can we have a confirmation of a quorum? Are there any public comments? Okay, so we can skip that. Okay, here we go. So we'll start going through the items. Item number 1, consideration and possible action on approval of the July 18th, 2023 board meeting minutes.
I'll second.
And all in favor? Aye. That passes. So now item number 2, the general manager's report.
Good afternoon. This is Mark Dombrowski. I'm Assistant General Manager and Chief Operating Officer. Marilyn is out of the office today. And for the General Manager report, I have 2 items. So the first one to mention is on our drought contingency planning for stage 2, that as of July 29th, we're combined at 25.59%. That's Amistad and Falcon, with Amistad at 32.18 and Falcon at 17.2. So we are going to begin our planning for stage 2 at this point. Requirement is that when it hits 25% that we invoke those stage 2 requirements.
And sorry, just can you give us a quick overview of stage 2 drought contingency plans? You know, the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. kind of everything else, the watering.
I can have.
Okay. Just so we have it.
Hi, Judy Adams, and Division Manager. And I'll just cover briefly. We're looking at stage 2. Stage 2 has watering days twice a week, depending on your service address, depending on the last digit of your service address. And the watering times will be depending on your days, from midnight to 7 a.m. and then 7 p.m. to midnight, basically. And that's the main thrust of stage 2. There's some other things, car washing. You're always allowed to wash your car at a car wash. You can only wash your car at home during the hours of watering hours, basically. And that's kind of it.
Okay. Do we have any special concerns that we have to worry about ourselves, SRWA?
At SRWA? I mean, other than just complying with the watering
Okay,
time.
yeah. So nothing specific that will affect our operations.
No. Sir.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. Sorry, go on, Mark.
Thank you. And then next up, we have our operational financial report. Jacob Galvan and George Rangel will be presenting those today.
Hello, Mr. President and members of the board. My name is Jacob Galvan. I'll be presenting the production and distribution report for the month ending June 30, 2023. On tab 2 of the board binder, we have the SRWA water distribution summary. On column C is the SRWA total distribution. The year-to-date is 1,874.019 million gallons per day for a daily average of 6.865 million gallons. On column C is the distribution for BPUB. The year-to-date is 1,645.66 million gallons for a daily average of 6.028 million gallons. In column G is the Valley Mud number 2 year-to-date 45.031 million gallons for a daily average of 0.165 million gallons. In column H is the distribution for Los Fresnos for a year-to-date of 140.224 million gallons, daily average of 0.514 million gallons. In column I is the distribution for B and D. The year-to-date is 39.355 million gallons for a daily average of 0.144 million gallons. On column J, we have the allocation for Indian Lake. The year-to-date is 3.748 million gallons, daily average of 0.014 million gallons. Below, you see the true-up estimate where BPB is under by 95.49 million gallons. Value mud number 2 is under by 2.01 million gallons. And the city of Los Fresnos is over by 97.5 million gallons. On the next page, we have the water production distribution costs. On the third column from the left is the total water produced for the month of June, which was 196.982 million gallons for a daily average of 6.566 million gallons. On the far right is the total water distribution, which was 195.184 million gallons for a daily average of 6.506 million gallons. Below, we have the chemical consumption cost for the month, which was 105,832.87 cents. On the bottom, we have the electrical consumption, which was 118,216 with 44 cents. On this page are the events that reduce water production. On June 4th, SRWA lost communication and power at the well field during a thunderstorm, which resulted in 8 hours of downtime. On June 5th, electrical equipment damaged by the storm was repaired, which resulted in 19 hours of downtime. On June 6th, damaged communication antennas at the well field were repaired, which resulted in 7 hours of downtime. On June 8th, there were issues with SCADA programming, which resulted in 8 hours of downtime. On June 14th, the carbonator programming issues during the power generator load testing, which resulted in 8 hours of downtime. On this page, we have a graph comparing fiscal year 2022 and 2023 water production and distribution. You can see we're here just about like the 2022 production distribution at 196.982 million gallons. On this page, we have the graph comparing the water production of all three treatment plants. You can see SRWA is 164.995 million gallons for the month. Water plant 1 is at 282.93 million gallons. And water plant 2 is at 248.089 million gallons. That concludes my report. Do you have any questions?
I have a question. Why did it decrease? It was
Decrease.
because of all the,
Yes, we had because of the storms, we had a lot of downtime, so it reduced our production for the month.
So about 500,000 gallons?
Of lost production, would you say? Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, about lost
Yeah.
production?
Yeah, we probably lost like maybe 5 to 7 million gallons
Okay.
of production. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Oops, that's my. Okay, the next item number 3, were,
Good afternoon. I'm going to present the financial performance.
never mind.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Forget about it. Very important next thing. Okay.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is George Langel. I'm the finance manager here at PUB, and I'll be presenting the financial performance for the month ended June 30th. Going into the first slide, I'm going to go ahead and concentrate on the right-hand side column labeled fiscal year 2023 year to date. And so I'm going to start off with line number 3, our total operating revenues as of June 30th. We were at $6,068,143. To that, we're going to go ahead and subtract out our total operating expenses of $3,809,244. giving us operating income of $2,258,899. Moving on to the next page, we're going to subtract out our net non-operating expenses of $126,213, giving us an income before capital contributions of $2,132,686. We add in capital contributions of $147,382, gives us a change in net position of $2,280,068. We add that to the net position at the beginning of the year of $20,265,360, gives us a net position at the end of the period of $22,545,428. And then we do have some supplemental information in subsequent pages, how we derived on some of those expenses that are on there, if you all have any questions. If there's no questions, that concludes my report.
Anybody? Okay, I think we are
Thank you.
good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Okay. After running over somebody, I apologize for that. We'll now move on to item number 3, and I believe staff has a request to table that item for right now.
That's correct, Mr. President.
Okay, so
I can bring it back next month.
don't think that needs anything else from us. We'll skip that.
Well, it does need a motion.
Oh, okay, okay.
We move to table it.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion
Thank
passes.
you.
Item number 4, this is the discussion on the quarterly investment activity report for the period ended June 30th, 2023, pursuant to Chapter 2256.023 of the Public Funds Investment Act.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Jorge Santillan, Treasury and Accounting Manager. We're going to look at this presentation on the second part of your agenda item. As required by Chapter 2256, Section 23 of the Public Funds Investment Act, we present the quarterly investment report for the quarter ending June 30, 2023. There's no action required on this item. At the end of the quarter, the total market value was 12.1 million. The allocation was 14% in money market mutual funds. This is going clockwise. U.S. Treasury notes and bills, 5%. Certificates of deposit, 20%. Bank deposits, 3%. And the investment pools, 58%. Some statistics at the end of the quarter. The weighted yield to maturity was 5.16%. The previous quarter was 4.79%. The weighted average maturity, 79 days. The previous quarter was 43 days. Continuing to the yield summary. This is by security description or investment type. The first column, we have the bank deposits. The total market value on the middle column of 290,740, with the yields ranging on the last column ranging from 1.65 and 4.95%. Next, we have the U.S. Treasury bill notes with a market value of 647,140, with a yield of 4.74%. Investment pools. Here, I just want to point out that on the third column, the maturity in the last 3 items, your copy may say, I think it says the year 23 should be 24, at least that's shown here. So the maturity is 2024, not 23. The market value for investment pools, 7,088,212, with a yield to maturity ranging from 5.02 to 5.79%. Then we have the money market mutual funds with a market value of 1,636,772, with a yield to maturity of 5.02. Finally, we have the certificates of deposits with a market value of 2,403,000. The yields to maturity ranging from 4.75 to 5.50%. The total portfolio market value, 12,700,000 $65,864, with the average yield to maturity of 5.16%. There's no action on this item, and any questions?
Any questions?
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. For item number 5, it is the consideration and possible action on the fiscal year 2024 operations and maintenance and capital budgets.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. Monica Cavazos, Director of Finance at Brownsville PD. Last month, we presented our draft budget to you. This month, we will be presenting our final draft budget. We do come to SRWA before we go to, it is part of the PUB budget, and so we require you all to approve it before PUB approves their budget. So the fiscal 24 operations and maintenance budget is proposed at $5,935,423, which is an increase of $247,111 or 4.3% more than the approved 23 budget, and primarily due to increases in overhead labor, chemicals, and engineering fees. The debt service actually decreased from $2,276,155. It decreased by $1,810 or 0.08% from the previous year. The proposed capital budget remains at the same amount, $2,574,467. It's being funded with prior year cash on hand, and it will not require a member of participant assessment, for fiscal year 2024. And then we do have something new. This was something we added after our first draft that we presented to you all. In prior years, the interest on investments has been a very nominal amount, an immaterial amount, and so it has not been part of the budget. But with market conditions, the way we've seen them, we've seen huge increases in the interest on investments. So we did include that in the budget. And we are estimating approximately $400,000 of interest on investments. As what we reported, we've had very good returns on our investments. And so that decrease, that is an offset to the participants' allocations for the total budget. We also had some changes on the personnel side. We had some decreases in the health and dental, what we had originally anticipated the health and dental premiums were going to be. Those came down a little bit. And so overall, the budget, we have a chart for you showing what we had presented as the draft budget. Originally, it was $8,228,006. This final draft with the changes in the personnel and with the offset of the interest on investments, we're proposing a combined budget of $7,811,578. That's made up of the debt service of $2,276,155, the O&M budget of $5,935,423, no new assessments for capital, and then the offset of the interest on investments. This represents a decrease from the approved 23 budget of $279,279, or 3.45% below the approved 23 budget. We do have the details. Pages 2 through 7 show the details. This summary page is for all participants. Pages 2 through 7 show you the details by participant. So it shows you the history of going back to 2018, what the actuals have been for each of the participants. So it's got a little bit more detail than the summary tab does. Then when we move on to pages 8 and 9 have some of the highlights of some of the major changes by account. And so you see where there's been some increases and decreases, primarily a lot of activity on the chemical side. That chemicals is obviously a big portion of SRWA's budget. So you've seen some increases and decreases. Some of that is based on changes in the usage and the mix of the chemicals, and then pricing, market conditions, and that. So that you see some of the details, some of the highlights of the major changes to the O&M accounts in pages 8 and 9. Pages 10 and 11 have the details by account. So if you want to drill down to more detailed information by specific accounts, this also shows you the 23 budget, the spending year to date, the encumbrances, and what the balances are, and then what we're proposing for 24. So that has a lot more detail. If you have questions on any of the specific accounts, staff can answer those questions for you. And then page 12 is the personnel. It's the overhead for personnel. And we did see there were no changes.
We have seen increases and they primarily were due to the market study. The wages increased due to the market study that was implemented. And as I mentioned earlier, we did have some reductions in our estimates for the health and dental benefits, but because of the increase in the wages, the benefits went up accordingly as well. Small increase on the overtime, again, based on the increases in the wages. And then the next pages 13 and 14 are the capital plan. And as I mentioned, it's all going to be funded out of cash on hand. So there is no new assessments required in the 24 budget from the participants. Are there any questions on any of the specific areas of the budget?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It wasn't my understanding that the membranes, they have a life of 5 to 7 years. Yes, and I was wondering, they're here, and it's the 7,298 membranes. Do they have to be changed already, or?
So it's a good question. And I want to point out, though, that there is a sinking fund. We put money in membranes in a sinking fund. So whatever money we don't use rolls into that sinking fund. And so we did add more this year. That was because we have the RO membranes, but we also have the microfiltration membranes. And the microfiltration membranes have a lifespan of about 10 years. And so they were installed in 2015, which makes them about 8 years old. So we want to put a little bit more money into that sinking fund so that when it's time to replace the microfiltration membranes, we have some money in there so that we're not hitting the partners with a lot of money on that year that we need to replace them. So back to your question about the membrane life on the ROs, they say 5 to 10 years is the lifespan of the membranes. We've gotten 11. I think that's our longest, or maybe longer, I can't remember. But some have lasted less than 5 years and some have lasted more than 10 years. So it's hard to say. On the average, I think Garza had calculated 7 to 10 years.
So they're about to have to be replaced, because it wasn't my understanding
had
that
just-
they just would change them.
Yes,
last
we
year, or-
replaced 5 of the 8 trains. And so it's very possible. And I know that Corolla, one of the engineers, is looking at that. And they may have a recommendation to change out membranes. So we're waiting for that study to be completed. And they may recommend that the 3 remaining trains be replaced.
Microfiltration has 8 years already, so we're also preparing for that, just in case, because they're estimated 10 years, right, life of the MF, the microfiltration membrane.
We budgeted an annual allocation to membrane replacement, and that fund builds up because the members aren't split. Otherwise, the budget, and once we got was spiking the timing of when the membrane needs to replace. So we localize that and put in an annual allocation, and put in that the fund is depleted and the membrane is replaced and the fund is depleted, we then start building that fund back up.
Yeah. And so for your I'm sorry. So for your information, the cash on hand for the membrane replacement as of June 30th is at $523,000.
Can we maybe just change some of the labeling, just, so that it's understood that this is kind of a backup account or a kind of, account that we're holding money in versus having to worry about the membrane replacements immediately? Just kind of to make it a little more clear of where the money's going. Yeah, it's going to a holding account or it's going to an immediate purchase of the membrane. Small detail.
In the financials, we do show membrane replacement.
Yeah, no, yeah. In the financials, in the complete financials, we do show a statement of demand accounts and investments, and we break out the balance that's available in there. But on the
Or, just an anticipated use for this year versus,
yeah, we can do that.
small detail. And then one other request, since, a big part of what we do is in fact membranes, to help the board. It might be nice if we had just kind of a, I don't know, map or a guide of where we are membrane wise for the ROs, for the microfiltration, just something so that we can visually quickly understand, our status. Thank you. Any other questions? That was great. Anybody?
So this is an action item.
Okay.
Staff recommends approval of the fiscal year 2024 operations and maintenance and capital budget.
I move to approve the fiscal year 2024 for the operation, maintenance, and capital budget.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So moved. So passed. Okay. Okay, so next item, item number 6, the consideration and possible action for bid award for annual supply of water treatment chemicals.
Mr. President, members of the board, my name is Simon Estrada, Director of Water Wastewater Operations. Invitation to bids was advertised in the Brownsville Herald June 18th and the 25th, emailed to 25 vendors with 18 responding. The PUB Purchasing Department opened bids on July the 6th, and the list that you see there were the evaluated bidders. These chemicals are used for the SRWA for the adjustment of pH, disinfection, dechlorination, membrane cleaning, coagulation, and water stabilization. PVS Technology Incorporated submitted a firm bid for a 2-year period and is only vendor that submitted a bid for the ferric chloride. The terms of the ferric chloride is from September 1st, 2023 to August 31st, 2025. The remaining chemical contract periods are from September 1st, 2023 to August 31st, 2024. The price that you see there, $94,000, is inclusive of the 2 years. That's about $47,000 a year. It was a slight increase of about $1,000 a year for that chemical ferric chloride, and they've been our supplier for the last 3 years. SRWA staff recommends bid award for the annual supply of chemicals to the low bidders in meeting specifications as follows. Univar Solutions USA Incorporated in the amount of $179,684.40. Rentag Southwest Incorporated in the amount of $50,499. Southern Ionics Incorporated in the amount of $35,435. PVS Technologies in the amount of $94,500. International Dioxide in the amount of $137,800, and DPC Industries in the amount of $280,721, for a grand total amount not to exceed $778,639.40.
Any questions about this?
I have none.
Just a small question, and maybe just way too in the weeds, but why did you leave units of tons and totes in the column?
Units of what?
So for chlorine, we refer to its cost in tons. Just a small thing. I mean, and divide by 2,000 and you have it, but was there any specific reason?
I bet you did.
Yeah, you need to do everything in time. Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to verify that. And I didn't have a chance to Google this. What's a tote?
Excuse me, sir?
A tote.
So,
Okay, and that, and 275 gallons, is that standard? Just for the sake of complete transparency, if we could do a little asterisk and note, hey, look, you only buy this in tons, which is why we're stuck there. And hey, this is a tote that is 275 gallons versus 300, in case anybody has any questions about it. Small. It does, yeah, but I mean, just so it's all kind of
we'll
one
clarify it
place.
on the agenda.
I mean, tiny detail, tiny detail. Okay, so no other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the bid for award for the annual supply of water treatment chemicals?
I so moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. So pass. Okay. Item number 7, consideration and possible action to approve the annual supply of calcium chlorine solution.
I don't think that would, that item is up there, but calcium chloride solution is used to reintroduce minerals to the reverse osmosis permeate water for water stabilization. The request for bids for the annual supply of calcium chloride solution was advertised in the Brownsville Herald, June 18th and 25th, emailed to 25 vendors, with 18 vendors responding. There was only one vendor responded for the calcium chloride, which was Skyhawk. So based on the calcium chloride solution unit cost of 0.29 per pound and the estimated usage of 2,110,000 pounds, the estimated annual cost of calcium chloride solution is $611,900. The contract period will be from September 1st, 2023 to August 31st, 2024. So we're recommending approval of the bid.
Any questions?
Only one?
So there's only one vendor, they've been with us a little bit longer than, they've been with us since 2010. They've been
The
with-
same.
Same vendor.
Do you have any information as to why none of the other 18 respondents were
Not too
interested
sure. So
in?
maybe, I don't know that they'd be able to supply the chemical or not.
Okay. Oh, we have a little bit of.
So with calcium chloride, you can find calcium chloride out on the market. The issue with calcium chloride is it has to be NSF approved, the NSF 60, in order to put it in drinking water. And so there is only one supplier right now in Texas. So other people have tried to get into the market, but they've since left. Like you'll see in the history, well, you don't see the history. We had Brentag one time supply it, and then we had issues where it wasn't meeting the quality of what we required. And so we had to go back to Skyhawk.
Who tested? Was that us or was that them? Who tested the chemical to find the?
Well, we did. We can do a specific gravity on
Okay.
site.
It's good to know. Any other questions? Okay, I'm looking for a motion to approve the annual supply of calcium chloride solution.
I'll second.
All for?
Aye.
Aye. And so that passes. Thank you. And final item is discussion on date and time of next board meeting. September 5th is what's on the calendar. There we go. Oh, nope, just verifying that. So, actually, 2023, September 11th is, nope, I apologize. I'm catching up to it. So items didn't see September 5th. Tuesday's a holiday, so agenda posting. Yeah, September 11th is when they're suggesting.
September 11th. BB.
You know, we have the regular board meeting is also on that date, so it's kind of a conflict. On the 11th.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, the BPAB board meetings in the evening and Southmost board meetings are at noon, so we've held the Southmost board meetings in the same date before.
Okay, that's not a problem.
It's up to the board. But Monday, the 4th is a holiday.
Yeah.
So that's off the table.
Okay, so I mean, I guess I'm going to be here a lot that day, but, okay, so this isn't an action item or anything, is it? Oh, we do need. No? Okay. So, well, I guess, does anybody have any other item they would like to discuss at the next meeting or make sure we discuss? Well, with that in mind, I think we'll call this meeting to a close. It is 12:35. Thank you all very much.
What was the date of the next meeting then?
September 11th.
11th.
Yes.
Well,
September 11th, 12 o'clock.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.